I want you to picture a specific moment. It's not a loud moment, not a breakup, not a first date.
Nothing dramatic.
No, nothing like that. It's much quieter. It's that split second, maybe it's just a random Tuesday afternoon where you catch yourself checking your phone.
A little too eagerly.
A little too eagerly, yeah. Or you're rereading a message for like the third time, trying to decode the tone, and you just freeze.
It's that sinking feeling.
Exactly. It's the freeze because you realize, oh no, I'm doing it again. You are falling for someone or for something despite all your best intentions not to. And it's not exciting. It's kind of terrifying.
It's a very specific kind of dread, isn't it? It's almost a grief for your own rationality. You thought you were past this.
Right. You thought you're smarter now.
And yet, there you are.
Well, that is exactly the headspace we are going to be living in today. We're doing a deep dive into this really striking essay. It's called The Quiet Shame of Wanting Again by the writer and philosopher Pedro Malha. And I have to say, reading this, it was uncomfortable.
Oh, for sure.
It felt less like I was reading an article and more like someone had just documented my private thoughts.
It's so profound because it just sidesteps all the usual romantic cliches. You know, he isn't talking about the thrill of new love.
No.
He's exploring that embarrassment of recognizing a pattern returning without your permission.
It's the embarrassment part that really gets me, because we usually frame desire as this big, exciting thing, but Malha defines this specific kind of wanting. It just feels different.
He says it doesn't show up with urgency or hunger. It's not, banging on the door.
If it were banging on the door, you could fight it.
Exactly, you can lock it.
Yeah.
But he describes it as a low, almost embarrassed recognition. He uses this haunting phrase. It feels like finding oneself already leaning forward.
Already leaning forward. That visual just stuck with me because it implies the movement happened before you even thought about it, right?
Precisely. And that's a key distinction he makes. This kind of wanting, it appears as a discovery, not an event.
You don't decide to do it.
No, you don't sign a contract that says, I will now invest my emotional energy here. You notice it in retrospect.
It's the oh damn moment.
Yes. Maybe a message arrives 10 minutes sooner than you thought, and you get this little dopamine hit that is way out of proportion.
Or a glance just lingers a half second too long.
And in that moment, you realize you're already invested. You're already waiting.
And that's the trap. By the time you see it, it's already there. Malha says it's already carrying weight. You can't just brush it off.
You got its hooks in you.
So I want to push on this a bit. Why is this so much worse than the first time? Why is the again part so important? Usually experience helps.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That experience would be a shield. But Malha argues it's the exact problem.
The experience is the problem.
Yeah. This wanting comes after knowledge. And that's the crucial part. When you're young, desire is a frontier. You don't know where the road goes. You can claim innocence.
But here you have the map.
You have the map, and you know exactly where all the car crashes are. You know how this story tends to go.
You know how easily you assign meaning to things that might not mean anything.
Yes. And how quickly your inner landscape, as he puts it, just rearranges itself around another person.
That line, the inner landscape rearranges itself. It's such a polite way to describe something that feels kind of violent.
It does.
It's not like moving a vase. It's like your whole living room is suddenly pointed at a door that might not even open.
That's a perfect analogy. It is structural. And because you know this, because you remember how much it hurts to move all the furniture back, the wanting carries memory. It knows the cost.
Which brings us to the shame.
The shame. The title of the essay.
But let's be clear, he's not talking about, like, moral shame.
No, it's not ethical shame. You haven't broken a law.
Yeah.
He calls it the shame of repetition without surprise.
Ah, that's it. It's the shame of recognizing your own patterns and finding yourself stuck in them again.
It's the feeling of failing to outgrow something you thought you'd mastered. You tell yourself, I'm an adult, I'm independent, I know how this works.
And yet here you are dissecting an emoji like you're 15.
It is humiliating. It really is. And this leads to the concept in the essay that I think, well, it hit me the hardest. The internal witness.
Oh, yes. The internal witness. We have to spend some real time on this because I think everyone has this voice, but he just articulates it so clearly. Who is this witness?
The internal witness is that part of you that's fully present this time around. It wasn't there the first time you fell in love. It has the data.
Yeah.
It remembers the past failures.
Okay.
But here's the catch, and this is what's so maddening. It doesn't intervene.
It doesn't stop you?
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't grab the wheel. It's like an audience member in a play who knows the tragedy is coming, but just sits there eating popcorn.
That is horrifying.
It just notes the familiar markers. It sees your mood lift when attention arrives. It sees it crash, that dull gray feeling when the attention goes away.
It watches you mentally rehearsing a future you're telling your friends you don't even want.
Right. You're out there saying, oh, it's casual, I'm not looking for anything, and the internal witness is just looking at you like, you liar. You've already named the cat.
Exactly. And this is a really important point Malha makes. This wanting coexists with clarity. We think of infatuation as being blind.
Frankly, yeah.
But he's saying, no, you see perfectly, so the clarity doesn't help.
The clarity becomes strangely irrelevant. You can see exactly what's happening. You can diagnose your own condition perfectly.
You know better.
But knowing better doesn't stop the feeling. So the witness just highlights this huge gap between your intellect and your emotion. It turns you into a spectator of your own unraveling.
So you have this witness watching you be a fool, and that creates this strange split in reality that he describes. And this is where it moves from just feelings to how we actually live this. He talks about a double life.
It's so common, but we rarely talk about it. On the surface, life goes on. You go to work, you pay your bills, you talk about the weather, you seem fine.
You're functioning.
You are. But underneath, a second rhythm is developing. Your whole perception of time changes.
It's like the day isn't 24 hours. It's measured in the time since you last heard from them.
Yes. The interval between contacts matters more than the contact itself. And Mala uses this phrase, I think, is just the poetic peak of the essay. He says, silence acquires texture.
Silence acquires texture. I highlighted that 3 times because it's so true. It's not just emptiness.
No. When you're indifferent, silence is just air. But when you're in this state, silence is heavy. It's prickly. It's a presence in the room.
It's the why haven't they texted silence. It has a physical weight to it.
Exactly. And we try to explain this away, don't we? We say, I'm just so confused. But Mala really calls us out on that. He says it's not confusion.
What is it then?
This is a tough pill to swallow. He argues it's accommodation.
Accommodation.
Yeah. And there's a massive difference. Confusion implies there's a puzzle you could solve. But usually you know what's happening. You know they aren't prioritizing you.
So why do we call it confusion?
Because admitting it's accommodation is too painful. Accommodation means you see the reality, that you're getting scraps, and you're choosing to adjust your inner life to fit those scraps.
You're contorting yourself.
You're making space for the wanting, quietly, so you don't lose the connection.
Wow. Okay. That hits. So we claim confusion to protect our dignity when really we're just bargaining.
Exactly. You are actively organizing yourself around a possibility that's still unspoken. And that leads to the shame of asymmetry.
Asymmetry. That feels like the core of the loneliness here. Because you don't really know if the other person feels anything, do you?
That's the whole thing. This wanting, again, often happens where there's no mutual claim. You have no idea what they want.
Yet you've already renovated your whole emotional house for them.
You've built the extension, and they're just walking by on the sidewalk, completely oblivious. And the shame comes from realizing how fast you did that, for someone who never asked you to.
But doesn't modern dating sort of force this? Mala talks about modern connection and ambiguity. I feel like we've convinced ourselves that ambiguity is cool.
Yes, this is a critical cultural point in the essay. We tell ourselves that demanding clarity is uncool or needy.
Just go with the flow.
Right. But Mala argues the shame is in recognizing how much ambiguity you're willing to put up with. It's not that we like it. It's that we accept it.
Because we want the connection that badly.
Correct. You give space to something that hasn't asked for it just to stay in the game. It's the cost of accommodation.
And because you know how fragile it all is, you try to keep it small. He talks about this restraint. It's a very cautious wanting.
It has to be cautious. It knows things can collapse under expectation. So you hold back.
Yeah.
But Mala points out this huge tension, the gap between how little you claim and how much you feel.
I think we've all used that line. I'm just enjoying the connection. I'm just having fun.
And he challenges that. He says enjoyment doesn't cancel out investment. You might be enjoying it, but that doesn't mean you aren't deeply invested.
And pretending you're just breezy and chill, that creates a specific kind of loneliness.
It does. It's the loneliness of carrying something unspeakable.
Yeah.
You can't admit it, not even to yourself, because that means admitting a vulnerability you thought you'd conquered.
So you intellectualize it. You call it curiosity.
You downplay it.
Yeah.
And that leads to that self-surveillance. You're constantly monitoring yourself. Did I check my phone too fast? Was my tone too eager?
Oh, God, the emoji anxiety. It sounds so ridiculous out loud, but in the moment, it feels like life or death.
It does, because you're trying to hide the evidence of your wanting. You're watching yourself want, knowing better, but doing it anyway.
It sounds exhausting, and it sounds like it messes with your head. Maha mentions temporal distortion, how this messes with our sense of time.
Yes, the present moment is highly charged. Every text feels electric. But the future, you hold the future at arm's length.
Because you're scared to jinx it.
Because you've learned that projection leads to disappointment. So you anchor everything in this week or this text. You refuse to look ahead. But he points out, this isn't some Zen practice of living in the now.
It's not mindfulness.
No, it's a strategy, a defense mechanism to manage the longing. You're trying to keep the blast radius small in case it blows up.
Damage control for a disaster that hasn't happened, but okay, before we make everyone feel completely hopeless, Malha does say it's not all negative. He uses the word tenderness.
He does. And this is where the humanity of it really shines. This wanting comes from something genuinely human. A moment of being seen, a shared connection. It's not pathological.
Right. We aren't broken.
No. The shame comes from how quickly those small moments become central, how they start to carry more weight than they were ever meant to.
Here's where I got a little frustrated, though. I kept waiting for the chapter on the solution, the 5 steps to stop wanting.
The hack.
I wanted the hack.
But he doesn't give it to us. No, he doesn't. And I think that's the most honest part of the whole piece. He says this doesn't resolve into a lesson. It doesn't become detachment. There's no siren that goes off saying, warning, you care too much.
It's just cumulative.
Just cumulative small recognitions. You realize you're waiting more than you're living, and it just feels like this private burden that's unresolved, a background hum.
It just sits there complicating the narrative. I love that phrase, even if I hate the feeling.
I know. We want our narrative to be, I am strong, I am wise.
Ah.
But reality is messy.
It's so messy.
Mala's point is that this isn't a failure of learning. It's a feature of emotional life. Insight does not grant immunity. You can understand it all perfectly and still find yourself leaning forward, waiting.
So if there's no fix, what are we supposed to do? Just suffer in the texture of the silence.
I think he's inviting us to drop the extra layer of shame. The shame of feeling is heavy enough. We don't need to add the shame of judging ourselves for it.
So be kinder to the internal witness. Or tell a witness to shut up.
Maybe it's about acknowledging the bravery in it. The essay asks us to consider the part of us that keeps offering itself into uncertainty. Despite everything you know, the wanting persists.
It's stubborn.
It is. And maybe the question isn't, how do I stop this? Maybe it's, is the safety of not wanting worth the boredom of not feeling?
That's a heavy question.
It is. Because we could turn it off. We could become completely guarded and ensure we never feel this again. But the cost would be a gray, flat world.
So the shame is just the tax we pay for the possibility of something real.
Exactly. It's the cost of admission.
Well, on that slightly terrifying but also kind of beautiful note, I think we'll leave it there. If you are currently staring at your phone, maybe don't beat yourself up too much.
You're just human.
And apparently you're in good company. This has been a deep dive into Pedro Malha's The Quiet Shame of Wanting Again. Tough read, but a necessary one. Thanks for exploring it with us.
Until next time.
Take care.